call Dr. Russell Norman.
E te mangai o te whare tēnā koe. Mr. Speaker, there's an ugly word which is used by political operatives and political spin doctors. It's also used in the public relations industry quite a lot, and those who have an interest in manipulating public opinion. It's a word which is the very opposite of substance. It is the word optics. Optics is all about how does something look. It's not about what's the reality of something. It's not about what is the real content of something. Optics is all about how does it look. What kind of an appearance would it give? How would, if a person was passing by something and didn't really look at it closely, how would it look to that person? And this bill we have in front of us today is all about optics. It's all about how does it look, and it's all about the legacy of our Prime Minister. What he wants to give is an appearance of substance. What he wants to give is an appearance of a progressive, forward-looking, aspirational Prime Minister and leading an aspirational, forward-looking government. And he wants to use this symbol and this referendum about the flag in order to get the right optics. How does it look? How would it look to a person who wasn't really paying any attention? It would look like, well, the Prime Minister's forward-looking, he wants to change the flag. He wants to adopt a modern, aspirational, forward-looking flag, as we've heard from all the National Party speakers, a flag which enshrines our national identity. But by changing the flag, what do we really change? Do we change the fact that our head of state is in fact a foreigner? That our head of state is in fact chosen by birth? That our head of state is in fact an hereditary monarch? So by choosing a new flag, does it change any of those fundamental constitutional arrangements? No. The Prime Minister doesn't want to deal with that. That's hard. That's leadership. If you wanted to have a constitutional republic in New Zealand and you wanted to be a Prime Minister who actually wanted to make New Zealand constitutionally independent, that would take leadership of substance, not leadership of optics. But this bill is about optics. It's about how would it look. How would it look if we adopted a new flag? It would look like this was a government that was addressing some fundamental issues about our constitution because we're changing the flag. It would look like a government perhaps that's addressing some of the fundamental issues of our identity, like our relationship with tangata whenua and the Treaty of Waitangi. No, it's just changing a piece of cloth and the pattern on a piece of cloth. The constitutional structure will remain exactly the same. So we will have an hereditary head of state. Now, hereditary heads of state are very strange things. I mean, if you had to, for example, had an accident this afternoon and you had to go to hospital and you said, well, it's all right, I need heart surgery. I need heart surgery, but it's all right because the father of my heart surgeon or the mother of my heart surgeon, well, they were a heart surgeon. So they are an hereditary heart surgeon, so I'm sure they're going to do a really good job. An hereditary heart surgeon. Oh, would anyone here, honestly, would you go ahead? I'm going to give my body over to a hereditary heart surgeon because their father or their mother, they were a very good heart surgeon, so I think they must be a good heart surgeon as well. When I go and get my hair cut, I'm going to get my hair cut later in a week or so, it needs it every now and again. Oh, well, my hairdresser's mother or father, they were a very good hairdresser, so I'm sure they'll do an excellent job. But when it comes to the constitutional and the head of state, we go, oh, no, it's all right. We're going to hand over the head of state to a person who was chosen by birth. By birth. That's right, that's how we chose it. That's how we're choosing a head of state. Not by a democratic process, not through, they didn't have to go through a test to prove they're good at, oh yeah, you're good at Constitution, let's test you on the Constitution. No, we choose them by birth. And this bill which gives the appearance of dealing with some really substantive issues about our nation, the flag, doesn't deal with any of the really substantial issues that confront our country. And that, from John Key's point of view, is the beauty of this referendum. It is manipulation of public opinion. It gives the appearance of substance without actual substance. It looks like the Prime Minister's addressing the big issues of the day, the big issues of the nation. Well, the Prime Minister is doing nothing of the sort. And that is exactly what he needs, because what he really wants is a fourth term as Prime Minister. Now, the Prime Minister talks about independence from the United Kingdom. This flag will symbolise our independence from the United Kingdom. Actually, it will do nothing of the sort. The head of state will still be a British person. Charles, perfectly nice fellow. In fact, on green issues, he's pretty good. You'd have to say I've got a lot of sympathy for Prince Charles on green issues. But as the person who should be the head of state of New Zealand. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Think about the fundamental issues around the Bill of Rights. The courts have just ruled that this parliament breached the Constitution of New Zealand by saying prisoners aren't allowed to vote. Are we going to talk about that? We can't even have an urgent debate about that. The Speaker says, no, that's not serious enough. The Constitution of New Zealand, the fact that this parliament breached the Constitution of New Zealand by taking away prisoners' right to vote, according to the courts, that's not important enough to have an urgent debate. It's certainly not important enough to have a referendum about. Goodness sake, we've got to have that about the flag.
Order. The member is now re-litigating a stance that's a finding that's already been committed to the House by the Speaker. It is not up for debate. The member should get back to this debate, which is about the flag referendum.
Thank you for your wise advice, Mr. Speaker. In terms of the flag, the Prime Minister has been very clear he wants to have a debate around optics. That's what he wants it about, not about substance, not about the Bill of Rights, not about the Constitution. Even though he talks about the Constitution in relation to this flag, Mr. Speaker won't let me talk about Constitution in relation to this flag, but the Prime Minister, of course, does. He gives the appearance that this is about substance. It is nothing of the sort. And the process itself is manipulative. That is the giveaway. When we had the MMP referendum, we had the first question, do you want to have first past the post or MMP? You had to decide, do you want to keep first past the post? If you said yes, if a majority said yes, we kept it. Majority voted for change. When we had the second MMP referendum, the first question, do you want to keep MMP or not? It was a yes-no decision. But on this referendum around the flag, the Prime Minister is purposely manipulating the process to push it towards the outcome he wants. That is manipulative. That is about optics. That is about spin. That is about government by spin. That is about government by optics. They're trying to manipulate the people of New Zealand to get the outcome they want. The honest question is this. First question of the referendum, do you want to change the flag? My answer to that question is yes. I want to change a lot of things, actually. I want to have a proper democracy, which is what a constitutional republic's all about. I want to make sure that this parliament operates within the Constitution of New Zealand and the Bill of Rights. I want to do a lot of things. But on the question of how we do this flag referendum, it is manipulative the way the government has set up the referendum question to push it towards the result they want. Because if you don't want to change the flag and the first referendum comes along and you've got to pick between 4 different kinds of flags, if you don't want to change the flag, you're not likely to turn up to that referendum, as a matter of fact. And is there any quorum? What's the quorum? 10 people could turn up to this referendum. Is there any quorum for this thing? National Party members over there? What if 10 people vote in this referendum? What if the turnout's 20%? What if the turnout's 10% in that first referendum? Where will be the mandate for this new flag then? Right? There won't be. So, Mr. Speaker, this is all about optics. This referendum is all about optics, and it's all about making the Prime Minister look like he cares for something. May I remind you that Keith Locke put up a bill, which was the head of state bill, and the Prime Minister blocked it from even going to select committee. Now, that would have been a true debate around our identity, a true debate around our constitutional arrangements, but John Key said, no, we will not have a real debate. I'm not going to allow that. We can have a debate around my flag proposal, which is all about optics and perception, but we can't have a real debate. And I'm reminded, one of my reading habits lately has been Tom Paine, and I think there is a great Tom Paine quote about the monarchy. Tom Paine said, "A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right." He was talking about the monarchy. This was just before the American Revolution. Now, this is exactly the same situation we find ourselves in today. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it the appearance of being right. We should address the real constitutional issues facing our country. Constitutional monarchy, constitutional republic, rather than being caught up in the Prime Minister's optics around this referendum around a flag.
I call